Okay, so good morning, everyone. My name is Erin Higgins, and I'm the program coordinator at the National Association of Federal Retirees Ottawa branch. I would like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which the National Association of Federal Retirees Ottawa branch is located is traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe people. Since the fall of 2020, our branch has organized over 60 plus webinars on different healthy aging and financial literacy topics to promote financial literacy and healthy living. We would like to thank you for attending and participating in these webinars. We couldn't continue without your support. On behalf of Ottawa branch, I am pleased to welcome you to today's webinar presented by CESO, the Canadian Executive Service Organization, entitled Integrating Volunteerism in Local and Global Development. I would like to start off by introducing Jennifer Rovet, member of the Volunteer Services team and has worked at CESO for 9 years. As the recruitment manager, Jennifer manages a team of recruiters who are responsible for finding suitable CESO advisors to assist with assignments around the world and deliver the results required by CESO partners. Jennifer is also involved in many strategic projects such as the roster rebuild project, the launch of the new My CESO portal, and external recruitment efforts to bring new advisors onto the roster. Jennifer has a degree in psychology, a postgraduate certificate in human resource management, and is a certified professional retirement coach. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Our second presenter is Travis Jaycox, who has been working for CESO remotely since April of 2021. As an Indigenous and Northern Services Officer, she helps match CESO advisors with Indigenous services assignments that are a good fit based on their skills and expertise, and has worked with advisors to make sure that they are prepared and supported throughout each assignment. Before joining CESO, Travis completed a master's in anthropology at Carleton University, and she also completed internships with community development organizations in India and Ghana. Thanks for joining us today, Travis. And also attending on behalf of CESO is Agatha Duginsky. Agatha has been working for CESO since February of 2018. She is the Senior Manager of Volunteer Services and looks after the intake of new volunteers to CESO, the recruitment of volunteers for assignments for the AWE program, and the preparation of volunteers for their assignments. She also has a master's degree in political science from the University of Ottawa. Welcome, Agatha. And I would like to give a special welcome to anyone here who is not yet a member of the association. We hope these webinars will inspire you to join us. And to our members, we hope that these webinars will encourage you to maintain your membership. Remember that you can give the gift of membership. And to learn more about giving the gift of membership, please click the link in the chat box to access the National Association website. After today's webinar, Ottawa branch will send you an email with instructions on how to access today's recording and how to join the association or give the gift of membership. Remember, you can always invite non-members to register. There will be a question and answer period at the end of today's webinar, so please type your questions in the chat box throughout the session, and I will read them out loud to our presenters for their response. Now I'm going to turn the presentation over to Jennifer. Thanks so much.
Great. Thank you, Erin. And thank you everyone for having us present today. We're excited to be here. So as Erin mentioned, I'm Jennifer Rovet, and I'm joined by Travis and Agatha today. What we'd like to do today is present to you CESO and tell you more about CESO and who we are and our approach, and you talk about our volunteers and the assignments that we do. And as Erin mentioned, we'll open up some time at the end for questions from you. So let's get started. With over 50 years experience, CESO is a leader in economic development, both internationally and here in Canada. We work with local partners and institutions to drive economic and social growth using the expertise of our experienced and enthusiastic volunteer advisors. CESO enhances governance and drives economic growth through capacity building, delivering the right skills and expertise, and fostering locally driven sustainable solutions. Our volunteers help build capacity with local partners in over 20 countries internationally. Our flagship international program is called Accelerating Women's Empowerment, or AWE for short. AWE focuses on developing and strengthening socially responsible supply chains in key sectors of focus, such as manufacturing, agriculture, natural resource management, and tourism hospitality. We also have our Merit and SUM programs, which specifically work to strengthen resource sector governance in Mongolia and Ethiopia. And our CCEDM program, which stands for Canada CARICOM Expert Deployment Mechanism, focuses on strengthening public institutions in the Caribbean. In Canada, CESO's Indigenous and Northern Services program works with Indigenous businesses and communities to build capacity and promote economic development. Economic reconciliation is at the heart of what we do at CESO. We work in partnership with Indigenous communities to create environments where Indigenous and Northern people can fully participate and benefit from economic growth and opportunities. Our partners in development include band and tribal councils, Indigenous-led organizations, Indigenous-owned businesses, and Indigenous economic deployment corporations. So what can you expect if you volunteer with CESO? Our volunteers are called CESO Advisors, or as we call them, CAs. CESO Advisors are skilled Canadian citizens or permanent residents who represent a wide range of industries and professional or technical skill sets. They are culturally sensitive, adaptable, and flexible. CESO Advisors share their expertise by providing training, mentorship, and coaching to CESO partners and clients through in-person or virtual assignments. By sharing their knowledge, our advisors help grow and strengthen local businesses, NGOs, and institutions. They are passionate about sharing their skills and experience to drive positive and sustainable impacts. CESO assignments are created in collaboration with local clients and partners to foster growth in local economies by providing support in either the private or public sectors. For example, advising a small business on their marketing strategy, or working with members of a government organization to support strategic planning. These are just a couple of examples of the over 500 assignments that CESO Advisors complete each year. Assignments usually last approximately 2 weeks for in-person and up to 6 months working virtually or with a combination of virtual and on-site activities. The length of virtual assignments really does depend on how often and for how long the partner and advisor choose to meet. For example, they might meet twice a week for an hour and the assignment lasts for 4 weeks. It's important to note that each virtual assignment is different and has different needs and requirements. In-country assignments are a little more straightforward in terms of the time. Advisors are supported before, during, and after their assignments by CESO staff. They are consulted on all travel arrangements, and peer mentorship and support is always available to advisors throughout assignments. CESO sends advisors to project locations within Canada and internationally at no cost to the advisors. Advisors are welcome to add additional time at their own expense to explore the country or region once their assignment is completed. Following the assignment, partners provide feedback on the impact of the assignment. As we begin to return to in-person assignments, we are doing everything we can to ensure the safety of our volunteers and partners. We currently require all advisors who conduct on-site assignments to be fully vaccinated against COVID-19. As the COVID situation continues to evolve, we do continue to provide support and mentoring through virtual assignments. At the moment, our virtual assignments make up about 2/3 of all our assignments, And we hope that more in-person assignments will be available as we navigate our way through the pandemic. With an internet connection and the proper tools, partners can connect with CESO Advisors through virtual meetings, workshops, and e-mentoring. Excuse me. As I mentioned, virtual assignments typically take place over a longer period of time, meeting 1 to 2 times a week for 1 to 2 hours. Assignments begin by connecting you with partners to develop a work plan that describes how, when, and with what software you will be communicating with. CESO offers a range of resources and support tools to ensure you are prepared and confident for delivering a virtual assignment. We found that this has allowed volunteers to drive positive social impacts and economic growth safely and in a way that aligns flexibility in their daily lives. Virtual assignments are also accessible with no travel, health, or mobility requirements. So let's now meet 2 of our advisors, and I'm going to turn it over to Travis now, who is going to introduce you to Nancy and Glenn.
Thanks, Jen. I don't know if you can see me or not, but okay, so the first advisor that I want to tell you about is Nancy. Oh, hi. Nancy has been a CESO advisor since 2018. She is an experienced tourism industry professional with experience in both international and national tourism. Among other achievements, Nancy was the founder of Recipe4 Canada, which is a successful destination management company. And since her retirement, Nancy has shared her knowledge and experience in the tourism sector to help young entrepreneurs build their own businesses. So Nancy has completed 3 assignments with CESO in Nunavut, Northwest Territories, and Alberta as a business development and marketing advisor. Jen, do you want to skip to the next slide there?
Oh, it's not moving. Hold on. Oh, uh-oh.
Yeah, no, they're good. Perfect. Thank you.
I just lost my notes though. Okay.
So between November 2021 and January 2022, Nancy mentored Keith, the owner of an Alberta-based tour company called Talking Rock Tours. Through this one-on-one virtual mentorship, Nancy and Keith were able to discuss his aspirations for the future of his company and conduct a cost-benefit analysis of various partnership and growth opportunities. With Nancy's support, Keith was able to chart the next steps for his company. Okay, the next advisor that I want to introduce you to is Glenn. So Glenn has been a CESO advisor since 2015. He has extensive experience in the mining sector and is currently the Vice President of Aboriginal Government Affairs for Noront Resources. From 2001 to 2010, Glenn also served as Chief of the Missinaibi Cree First Nation. He has completed 5 CESO assignments in Guyana, Mongolia, and Ethiopia, using both his business development and community development expertise to support local clients. In 2018, Glenn traveled to Guyana to facilitate a series of leadership training workshops with Indigenous women leaders. He led workshops on leadership, communication, and public speaking to build awareness of different leadership styles. The workshop participants were able to build their existing leadership skills, enhance their ability to plan and manage projects, and their ability to communicate effectively with community members and the public. Glenn's training helped women build their confidence as community leaders so that they can be clear and effective when developing community projects. Following his assignment in Guyana with the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs, he was later invited to participate in their 2020 Indigenous Women's Leadership Conference. Jen, I'll pass it back to you now.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I hope this is giving you a good overview of CESO and what we do, who we are. So let's talk about what's next for me. So if you would like to apply to become a CESO volunteer with us, there are a few simple steps that you have to complete. The first one is to go to our website and apply using our online application. Once you apply, someone from the recruitment team will review your resume and make sure at that point that you're a good fit in terms of your skills, experience, and the types of assignments that we conduct at CESO. So at that point, we feel you're a good fit. We'll send you an orientation video to watch. This video is about 5 minutes. And then a few days later, again, someone from the recruitment team will follow up with you just to see if you would like to continue at this point. If you do, someone again on our recruitment team will interview you. It's a phone interview. It takes about 30 minutes. We'll interview you and check your references. We ask for 2 references at that point. If after that, there's a few things you have to do following the interview. There's some online training that you need to complete. You are required to read and sign off on some of our policies, and that's through a system we call File Invite. So it's all electronically, so it's really easy to do. We do require a criminal record check, and there is also a one-time administrative fee that is required from everybody who joins CESO at that point. And then once all that is done, you will receive a welcome email, and then you'll have access to all of our volunteer opportunities through our system called My CESO. Okay, and that is the end of our presentation. So as we go through some questions from you today, I'm just going to leave this screen up. This one is just some testimonials from our advisors. So if you'd like to just have a read through that as we go through the questions. And I'll turn it back to you, Erin.
So it looks like we don't have any questions right now. So if anyone has any questions, oh, here we go. Our first question is, how much is the administration fee?
Good question. The administration fee is $100, and that's just a one-time payment that you're required to pay. And as I mentioned throughout the presentation, all other costs for traveling to assignments, we cover all those. So it's just this one cost of $100.
Okay, our next question is, what types of skills are most in demand? Someone else want to take this one?
Yeah, I can jump in here. Yeah, so we work across a bunch of different sectors. So governance, tourism and hospitality, SME small and medium enterprise development, natural resource management, health and wellness, manufacturing. But sort of within those sectors, the areas of focus that I would say are sort of major ones would be like fund development or like grant and proposal writing, strategic planning, anything to do with human resources, anything to do with sort of business support or management, financial management and planning, communications, organizational development, IT and web development are really big ones. Web development and online marketing. Yeah, like wide range of sectors. Jen and Agatha, do you have anything you'd add to that list?
Maybe I'll just add, as you said, it's very wide. I would say where we don't work is like more specialized, like the medical field, yeah, or law, or education from like a high school, or kind of that type of education. Those are sort of the skills that are we feel there are other organizations that are really specialized in. So yeah, governance, basically what Travis just mentioned. So we're very open. We're selective, but more in terms of the fit than really a resume.
Great, thank you. So moving on to our next question. For on-the-ground assignments, do you send more than one advisor, or are these solo assignments?
Typically it would be one advisor per assignment, especially, typically one advisor per assignment, especially in the international program. That's to do with sort of funding agreements. Occasionally in national within Canada, we might have more than one advisor on an assignment, depending on the situation. And I think there's like a bit more flexibility with virtual assignments as well. But
I'll just
typically
add,
one.
I'll just add that it's one person per assignment, but in country, what we're noticing and what tends to happen is there's more than one advisor on site, just doing multiple, like different assignments with different partners. So you might be the only person doing the assignment with a partner, but there might be some other volunteers, you know, staying at your hotel or traveling with you, things like that.
Great, thanks Travis and Agatha. Our next question is, what qualifications does one need to have to join? And they commented that if I don't have a degree, but have international experience as a volunteer and in employment.
Jen, maybe you can take that one.
Yeah, sorry, can you repeat that? Sorry, Erin.
Yeah, no problem. So what qualifications does one need to have to join? And they're commenting that they do not have a degree, but they have experience in international volunteering and employment.
So to become a volunteer with us, typically you need about 15 years of experience, you know, at a more senior level, because the way that our volunteers work with our partners, they really are sharing their skills and expertise and really mentoring and teaching them. In terms of degree,
I don't think that's an issue.
Yeah.
Like Jen said, it really is about the years of experience in a specific field.
Right. Some partners might look at that and want the advisor to have a degree, but you know, we're really looking for like the right fit to work with the partner. So yeah, so as I said, at least 15 years experience.
I would agree with Agatha. It's more about, and Jen, it's more about your experience and what you can, you know, bring to the assignment, and the skills or expertise that you can sort of share with the partner. And you'll also have, you know, if they select your application, you have a chance to meet with them and talk about their needs in more detail and make sure that it's a good fit too.
Okay, thank you. Our next question is there on the ground support in the countries? And can you talk a little bit more about safety?
Yeah, I can answer that. We have teams in each country that we work in. It's anywhere from 1 to 3 staff. So we have kind of offices everywhere. So those the staff will come pick you up at the airport. They will introduce you to the partner. They'll arrange everything on site. And in terms of safety, there is a safety briefing when you arrive. The volunteer service officers, before you leave on an assignment, they provide you with a lot of information around that as well. And there's always somebody basically that you can contact in the field. You're very taken care of there, but also because of the type of work that that is done here, like the type of volunteer work, we typically don't send people in sort of conflict zones or anything dangerous like that. We do follow the global affairs advisories. So we will sort of try and we limit it to places that are safe.
Okay, thank you. Our next question is, can you maybe walk through some of the types of assignments available both online and in person? And which country locations are you going to be posting for these assignments?
I can start by answering that. So currently we have a lot of assignments in recruitment. So there's a lot to choose from. But some of the assignments, we're seeing a lot of assignments in marketing, and that includes digital marketing, business development, business planning, fundraising, a lot in, as Travis said, web development. There's so many right now, and in terms of the countries, it's in all our countries that we're working in. mainly though, mainly in Africa. We have many, many assignments in Africa, East and West, and Latin America, and a few in Asia right now. So it's a whole gamut of different types of assignments at the moment.
And if I can just add, we have opened it up to in-person assignments, so in country, in a few countries. So I believe all of our countries in Africa, which is probably why we have so many assignments there. People really want to go back in country, and in Latin America, and most of the countries that we have in Latin America as well. Asia is currently still, we haven't opened it up for in-person travel, just with the recent COVID wave there. I believe we are going to start up in the Philippines in the fall, and potentially Vietnam as well. And when Jennifer says a lot, I just wanted to clarify that that's like 200, 100, 200 assignments.
200.
Yeah. So just to give an idea of what a lot means.
I can speak about to the types of assignments that we have in Canada through our Indigenous and Northern Services program too. So I'll say most of our assignments are also still virtual. And actually a lot of our partners like that, because instead of often our partners have kind of a limited capacity. So instead of dedicating like a full week or 2 weeks to working with someone full time, they can break it up over, a couple months and take, a couple hours out of their week to work on an assignment. But we have had some advisors travel, one advisor is traveling next week to go support a grocery store with their sort of inventory management and staff management. So we had an advisor travel to Nunavut last week, a couple weeks ago, to do some leadership training workshops. We have an ongoing program to support communities applying for funding programs. We're working with, what else are assignments? It's an assignment to do a webinar on database training and records management, a grant writing workshop for economic development officers, looking for sort of more relevant assignments here. A workshop with a community council to review and recommend changes to reduce workload, etc. That's a long description. I'm not going to read that all. And then provide, and then we have some other ones to support a new cultural center in the process of recruiting and hiring their, like, an operations manager to support a community with the development of a local tourism strategy. Those are kind of the ones we have ongoing.
Okay, thanks, Travis. So we have a couple questions here that are all around the living conditions when you do travel. So a couple of those questions are, what are the housing, meals, and local travel? Are those funded by CESO? What is it like for the accommodations that they're staying in? Do they get a daily allowance, etc.? So maybe you could touch on just a little bit more about accommodations and the living situation overseas.
I could start with that one. Yeah, so everything, I'll start with the cover or the financial aspect. Everything is covered by CESO. So this whole program is the AW program, sorry, specifically the AW program is funded by Global Affairs Canada. So that's where our money is coming from. We cover everything, the flight, the accommodation, the food. Yes, we provide you with WAM, walk around money. And yes, we provide an advance before you leave to cover any, there's a whole calculation around based on your assignment location and all the different costs that you might incur. We do provide you an advance to cover all of that. And then we do ask for an expense claim at the end to expense anything else that you may have, any expenses you may have incurred. So yes, everything is covered. In terms of the accommodations, usually it's hotels. They're not 5-star hotels, but they're also not 1-star hotels. So I would say somewhere in the middle. We do follow we have limits as to how much we can spend per reservation per country and per city as well. So that's the country teams are the ones that select the hotels and pre-select them, and then all of our volunteers will stay at that hotel location when they go to X city. Now I will say it can we do try and provide decent accommodation for everybody, that there should be Wi-Fi, the hotel should be clean, and all of those. We do have standards to follow. Sometimes the assignment locations though are more remote. So for example, if you have an assignment, this is a very specific example, but around beekeeping, because that's a big one, that might be in Tanzania, and that might just be in the bush in Tanzania. So your accommodation might be a little more rustic, but we will make sure that it's, that there's a standard that's being followed. So I hope that answers the question around the accommodations.
Thanks, Agatha. There was also a question included that asks if CESO is paying for the international travel to the destination.
Yes,
meaning the
absolutely.
flights. Okay, great.
Yeah, and if it's a far long flight, we do include a layover. With COVID, we sort of were being a little careful with that. We are trying to find the most direct flight, but if there's like 3 different flights you have to take to get to, for example, Vietnam, we will pay for also a hotel stay at an airport for a layover. So, yeah.
Great. Okay, so the next question is, what percentage of your assignments are in person compared to virtual due to COVID?
Yeah, so as I mentioned in the presentation, about 2/3 of our assignments are still virtual and about 1/3 are in person at the moment. We're hoping that number of in person can increase, but we're still being very cautious as to just ensuring that everybody's safe and will stay safe because of COVID. So.
And we also just opened up in April, our in-person assignments. So we still have sort of leftovers of virtual assignments that were, the assignments that were already selected, and we've already agreed to do them for the partners. So we are honoring all of those, and we do expect there to still be virtual assignments for the next year. We'll see sort of. They'll probably be there to stay for some sectors or some types of assignments. And like Travis said, for the Indigenous and Northern services, that's been very popular. For international, it's a little tricky with the time change, but it has been more successful than we were anticipating, which is great. But yeah, the in-person is definitely picking up now.
Yeah, same for Indigenous services. It's picking up, and we're heading back towards more in person. But yeah, right now it's a proportion that are in person and quite a few still virtual. But that's probably going to stick around for us, I think. Even before COVID, we were doing some assignments, partially virtual, just so you have more time. It's kind of, more time to prepare, meet with the partner, and then you're more effective, like in the short time that you're there. So it's been kind of a hybrid for us.
Okay, thank you. So our next question is a health exam required before going overseas?
Yes. We ask for a medical clearance from your doctor or from a doctor once a year. And yes, for in-country.
Okay, thank you. Next question. Is there a minimum or maximum age requirement for advisors?
Yeah, there isn't really a minimum age. As Jennifer said, we do look for, at least, 15 years of experience. We used to be very strict about like 25 years of experience, but we've sort of lowered that a little bit. The idea is we really want to send experts in the field. So, and that's sort of our pitch to our partners. In terms of a maximum age, 79 is our cutoff age, just due to our insurance. That's where insurance stops covering, unfortunately. And we don't allow individual coverage. We provide all the insurance coverage and for all of our volunteers. So, yeah.
And we have a next question is asking specifically about certain skills. So they're asking, does CESO need governance, risk management, and internal control / monitoring type of skill sets?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely governance, risk management. Yeah, I've seen a few assignments that require that skill set.
Yeah, and we have an internal control role as well, Jen. So
mhm.
yeah.
So those are all good skills to have.
Okay, and our next question is, how do you apply for an assignment?
Okay, so 2 ways. So as I said, once you become an active volunteer, you'll have access to all the assignments in our MyCESO portal. So you can go through all the assignments in the different countries, if they're virtual, in person, different languages. And if there's one that you see that is of interest to you, you can apply directly to the recruiter. We require a letter of application and your resume, which we already have on file. We provide guidelines on how to write this letter. It's basically like a cover letter. So that's one way. So you can apply directly to the recruiter. The other way is that a recruiter could reach out to you. So when we're trying to find a suitable volunteer for an assignment, we go through our database, and we look through the resumes. And if we find your resume, feel you're a good fit, we will approach you by email and give you the information regarding the assignment and see if you are interested and available. And then again, it's the letter that we submit to the country team.
Great,
and
thank you.
same for Aya, for Indigenous services too. You submit a letter and then we share it with the client. They decide if it's a good fit, and then we have a meeting to make sure that it's a good match and you're going to be able to meet their needs.
Okay, our next question is, does the online list of opportunities have an idea of the time commitment at home or in the field, for how long you'd be away from home?
Yeah, so all that information is in the assignment profile or assignment description that you can see online. And it tells you when the preferred start date is, how long it's going to last, preparation that might be involved beforehand. But a lot of those details are flexible, and through some online calls before the assignment starts, like officially starts, you'll have the opportunity to speak with the partner and sort of hash out those details of timelines and what's required.
Yeah, and if I can just add, like roughly, oh, sorry, Travis, that it's just to get a sense, I think it was mentioned, but about 2 to 3 weeks is for in country. That's the length of an assignment. So it's not extremely onerous. Like for virtual, it can be longer because it's not sort of full time. It's like 2-3 weeks spread out in the amount of hours you're able to put in a week virtually. So they could be about a month long or a little bit longer depending on the type of work. But yeah, it's not a huge, I would say it's not in terms of in country, it's not like a year or even months. It's really it's very specific that it's around 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, and I'll add, even for virtual too, it'll have a sort of defined time commitment. So sort of a certain number of hours, or meeting 1 to 2 times a week for the next month or 2 months, or it'll be upfront defined, the amount of time commitment.
Okay, our next question is, how many advisors do you have currently?
So we currently, active volunteers, we have just under 1,500 volunteers, but I will just underline that these are people who have joined our roster from years and years ago. So the number that we've sort of looked through our data, and the number of active volunteers, meaning people who are actively applying for assignments, is closer to about 500.
Okay, next question. Do you have a board that manages the organization? And if yes, are these board members volunteers or paid?
We do have a board. I do not believe that they are paid.
Our next question is, do the guidelines for travel and accommodations and per diem, are they based on the Treasury Board guidelines?
Yes.
And next question is, in your virtual assignments, do you use Zoom? If not, what other platform do you use?
Yes, we use Zoom.
Yeah,
We do
Zoom is
provide-
our
go ahead.
preferred platform. And we have the premium account. So, but sometimes you might use WhatsApp, you might use Facebook, sorry, not Facebook, yeah,
Skype.
Facebook Messenger or Google Meet. So it can be whatever like you and the partner are most comfortable with.
Yeah,
what's available.
I agree with you. Like Zoom is a good option. There's also other platforms. It depends kind of what you and the client agree on will be the best like softwares for you to use and communicate through.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. Our next question is more of a comment, actually. And this attendee is asking that you cannot access the assignments on your website unless your application is accepted. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And what languages, I guess, are these assignments posted in? Do you have various language requirements for each one of the assessments?
Yeah, so our assignments are predominantly in English and French. So French would be West Africa, and then the others would be English. Sometimes in Latin America, we do see if we can find somebody who speaks Spanish. And if that's not possible, like if the partner is not comfortable in English, we do provide translators for the assignments.
Okay, and we have one more question here. I've just followed up with the member because it's a little bit vague, but they just inquired your organizational structure. So I guess they want to learn a little bit more about structure of your organization.
Yeah, so we have our let me know if I don't answer this correctly, but there's our CEO, Wendy Harris, and we have I can't count off the top of my head how many departments we have, but we have program learning and development or program learning and development department, which includes the monitoring and evaluation team. We also have international programs. We have two directors of international programs, one for Asia and Latin America and the Caribbean, and then the other one for Africa, both French and English. Then we also have a director of Indigenous and Northern Affairs that is looking after all of that whole program. And that program is funded differently than the AW program. The AW program is our biggest program funded by GAC, but the Indigenous and Northern Affairs program, okay, it's a new name. Northern Services is funded differently. And then we have the sort of finance department, volunteer services department. That is a part of the operations. I think I've covered all of the sort of departments, and we have an office in Toronto and in Montreal. And now we've sort of hired virtually as well. So we have people sort of spread out across Canada. We have about 65 staff in Canada. And then in country, all of the country staff. So like I said, it's one to three people. They report to their program managers that report to the directors of international programs. So that's sort of the general organized. Hopefully that's like the rough org chart.
Thanks, Agatha. So it looks like we have two more questions. So the second last question is, before our members go into applying for a position, is there a way to see one or two assignments that are posted, like a mock-up assignment, or just giving them access to see, what they would be applying for prior to them applying for the position?
Sorry, Erin, can you repeat that?
No problem. So they just want to know what type of positions you'll be posting before they go into the effort of applying. So they're looking to see if they can get access to 1 or 2 possible assignments that you have posted prior to them applying to become active, I guess, in the field.
Is this before they're actually becoming an advisor?
Yes.
Yeah.
We can share, absolutely, yes.
yeah.
We can share an example or 2 of assignments to see.
Yeah. Also, we should have mentioned earlier, if you are interested but not sure that it's a great fit, or you want to know what types of opportunities there might be, we could share our contact information after, and then get in touch, send us an email, and we'll set up a one-on-one call with you to talk about your experience more specifically and what types of opportunities there might be for you.
And we can
also
include this.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say we can include the contact information in the follow-up email. So everyone just keep an eye out for that this afternoon.
And I'll just clarify one little piece, because I know there's a lot of volunteer sending organizations in Canada, and one of the things that we do maybe a little bit differently is that when you want to become a CESO volunteer, you apply to become to join our CESO volunteer roster, and then from there you can apply to all the types of assignments that you want. So versus I think other organizations, you apply to the assignment specifically and then become a volunteer that way. Here it's sort of almost like you become a member, and then once you sort of gain access to that, you can apply to as many assignments. Like I said, not as many assignments as you want, but you can apply to multiple assignments, and you sort of stay on our roster until you tell us that you would like to leave. But once you're in, that's when you get all the opportunities. And we have people who've done, who do 2, 3, 4 assignments a year. We have some that do one every 5 years. It's very flexible in that way. And and we, just for the AW program, to give you a sense, our sort of target of assignments is about 500. So there's a lot of opportunities.
Okay, our next question is, what lessons have you learned over the years, and how have you made adjustments or improvements for assignments and advisors for a better experience for the advisors and the countries?
That's such a good question.
Yeah, I'll let you handle that one.
Oh, I mean, I'll speak about the AW program, because as volunteer services, we're sort of, that's because it's our flagship program. That's really the one we work in. I would say we just wrapped up a 5-year program that we called Strive before that, and we applied for more funding for the AW program, which we got for 7 years. We just started our 3rd year now. So a lot of the in the application process for this program, they were lessons learned from the previous 5 years. And then, we've been around for over 50 years now. So I think with every program and every submission, there's some of that. I think this program, there's more focus on women empowerment, as the title says, but it's, in the past, our assignments were maybe a little more ad hoc, and now they are more structured within a value chain approach. So they're and with the idea of strengthening women in these countries and the communities. So I would say that's, in terms from an assignment perspective, that's a big sort of lesson learned, and how we're sort of applying a maybe more thoughtful approach to our to those assignments. The other piece is we had a really hard time providing feedback in terms of the impact of the assignments, because there's just so much that it's not always easy to be able to provide sort of tangible feedback to the advisors. So that's something that we've put in place in the last 2 years, is really we do our best to provide some feedback around the impact of the work that's been done. So not only we providing feedback on, how the assignment went, but then also this one takes usually about a year, but there is more feedback around, okay, here's the impact that your work has provided, and look how great this is. Look how great the work has been, or this is where the client is at now, based on all the help that you've provided, or based on the work plan that you've provided them with. I hope that answers the question.
Can I add a little bit too?
Yeah, please.
I And just from a customer service perspective, like we've really worked hard to improve our customer service for all our volunteers to make that a better experience. We've implemented some, volunteer meetup sessions, so like our volunteers can connect with other volunteers to learn about their experience and learn from them. And then one of our biggest projects that we just launched this January was our new My CESO portal. So in terms of, again, the whole experience for an advisor, this new portal provides a lot more information to our volunteers and just how you can search and apply for assignments and all the resources that are included in this new portal. So we've really improved that, and it's been a huge success in terms of improving the experience for our volunteers.
Yeah, I was gonna sort of in the same vein, Jen, say like just learning in terms of the way that we support our volunteers, having like dedicated staff to do like briefing and debriefing and provide resources. If there's someone who's worked in the country or project location before, or with that client, we can sometimes connect you with that other volunteer. So lots like peer mentoring, and I think we have really grown in that way.
Well, thank you for sharing. We have one final question, and that is, how long is the process of being accepted as a volunteer to starting an assignment?
That's a good question. It totally depends. It can be right away, or a couple months, or even like longer than that. It just all depends on a lot of factors. So whether or not there's an assignment in recruitment that meets your skill set and experience, whether you're interested in it, whether you're available. So it's also how active you want to be as a volunteer. So some volunteers join the roster right away and they're active looking for assignments right away. Others join, might sit back for a bit, maybe wait for a recruiter to approach them. So it's really, it depends, but I'll just say too, if you have those skills and experience that are in high demand right now, chances are you will be accepted for an assignment, or we'll find you an assignment quite quickly.
Okay, thank you, Jennifer. So that concludes our Q&A period. And I'd just like to thank everyone for your participation in today's webinar. Ottawa Branch would like to thank Jennifer, Travis, and Agatha of CESO. We would also like to thank our volunteers and our staff at the Ottawa Branch with their help for making these webinars possible. Just a reminder, everyone, please look out for our follow-up email. It will include information on how to access today's recording, information about CESO, contact information should you be interested in applying, or if you have any more questions for our presenters. And just remember that you can invite non-members to attend our webinars to try us out for free as a guest. And you can tune into this afternoon's webinar entitled 2022 Investing Considerations for the Coming Year, presented by RBC. It's taking place at 1:30. And to register for this or any other upcoming webinar, you can visit our Ottawa Branch website. I'll put the link in the chat now. And we will make sure to include our website address in our follow-up email. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you to our presenters, and we hope to see you at our next webinar. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.